Good morning. We're here today at the SegerstromShelby Event Center in Irvine, California, and it's May 17th, 2025, and we're expecting to have a great celebration for the 60th American Shelby Event Center, having over 200 Shelbys and Cobras here on the streets of Irvine. And right now we have the pleasure of interviewing Ray and Ted Segerstrom. Good morning.
Good morning.
They are the owners and operators of this great, quintessential, iconic museum for Shelbys, Cobras, and some really unique cars, paraphernalia, gas pumps, signages, a lot of Carroll Shelby memorial stuff, right?
Correct.
And you have the Shriners contribution for charity here. And this event here is for the Firemen's Fund that Shelby's putting on. And we have the pleasure right now to interview them. Let's ask them a couple of questions because Ted and Ray, you put together a beautiful museum. I know it gets a lot of traffic here from Tuesday through Sundays. You have car clubs coming. You have coffee on once a month, right?
Cars and
Correct.
coffee.
That's the first Sunday of each month.
First Sunday of each month. How many cars do you have coming through and car clubs coming through here on that?
Oh, I don't know, any 2 dozen to 4 dozen. Depends on the day. It depends on the weather.
Yeah. So people coming here, it's sort of a fan based. It's in your blood, right? I mean, people come here. They want to talk about cars. They want to talk about their engines, the history of how they got cars, how they got started. But that brings me here to how did you get started in this? I know your first car was a Mustang, right?
My first car was a '66 Mustang, handed down from my older sister. She got her car, and I was old enough to drive. That turned into a '72 Mach 1. I really loved the body style on that, and it just kind of went crazy from there. Got my first Shelby, I think, back in 85, 86. Still have it. In fact, it's finally being one of the last ones that's going to get restored after all these. It got a hobby that kind of got out of control.
Got out of hand. Yeah, but you had a great place because you had a place to store them, right? And as you collected them.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he was telling me a story that when they were selling cars, Ford Motor Company, you really couldn't order a Shelby. You had to buy the car from a Ford dealer first and then send it off and have it built by Shelby, right, and modified.
Pretty much, yeah. In the early days, that's what Carroll did. You bought it from Carroll. But today, that's the way it works today. You have to order it, certain models, because it comes from factory with different suspension, things like that. And then Shelby will put a package.
And where was all those modifications being done? Was that in Vegas? Was that in California?
Well, originally it was Venice, California. There's a group of the original builders called the Original Venice Group, and they're quite old right now. We're trying to highlight all their lives and all their things. They were the ones that were actually turning the wrenches and converting really Mustangs to GT.
But when you bought a car, say back in 68, 67, I mean, I remember my first car was a Mustang 2+2 fastbacks,
Yeah.
and I paid $3,700 from the Ford dealer. And to get a Shelby, it would be like another $4,000 on top of that to just have modified. So it's like having two cars in one.
Yeah. You had to start with something. Carroll does that now. I mean, it's buy a GT Mustang, you take it to Shelby and say, I want the 1,000 horsepower package put on it. And you'll get a 1,000 horsepower car.
So the evolution of the Mustang, you could help me out with this because you're the expert in this particular field. So there's the GT 500, the 350, the Mach 1. There's a lot of versions. How did all this evolve?
Well, the Shelbys are only GT 350s or 500. You have the GT 40, you have the Daytona, and you have the Series 1. Series 1 came out in 1999, and it was the first car that Carroll actually built from the ground up. Everything else he kind of modified. Take a Mustang and convert it for you. That was the only one he built from the ground up. Kind of cool, huh? It's a fun car.
So in your museum that you have here in Irvine, California, which Believe me, anybody who has not had a chance to go through this, you really need to come here. There's 2 levels of beautiful, exotic cars, iconic cars, collectibles, autographs. I mean, you have everything here that you built for the car enthusiasts. What would you say is your most prized vehicle that you have here in the museum? And Ray, I know Ted gave you a beautiful T-Bird. I know that's upstairs, the gray one. I don't know how much you want to jump into it every day when you look at it, but it's a car of immaculate taste.
Thank you. I used to have problems with people trying to take pictures of it going down the freeway and not watching they were going. So when we started building this, I asked Ted to put my T-Bird in front of my office so when I'm at work I can see it. So that's where she sits.
The highlight of the cars in here would be 66 GT350 Paxton. There's only 11 that were made. 10 of them were 4-speed, and one was an automatic Carroll's. Drove it around LA for a couple of years, sold it, and it disappeared. So what happened in essence was the first Paxton. We found it about 10 years ago up in San Francisco. A young man who bought it from Carroll had taken it, was driving it for a while, and I think over-revved it and blew the motor. But he parked it, Mom and Dad's garage. We're still in there. It's only got like 57,000, like a timepiece. So we took it and destroyed it. That's really the jewel of the collection.
So going through there, do you still have the CHP Mustang?
Yeah. There's another building right now, but yeah, we still have that 82 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, that was
CHP car. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a classic. Are you still in the hunt for cars across the country when you look for cars to bring to the museum, or you think you're pretty well maxed out?
We're pretty good. We have like 96 cars in the collection. You have a very well representation of all years, and sure there's 1 or 2 something we can pick up here.
Yeah.
But then it takes 8-9 months to get it restored properly.
So with the trend now going with electrifying cars, what do you see, or what can you let us know that Shelby may be looking at going towards electric cars? Do you see anything happening in the horizon?
Well, the Mustang Mach-E Ford, you get that. The only drawback on them is battery life and the charging. If you're lucky, you could get from here to Vegas charge, but you're stuck for 8 hours, like that. So the technology is quickly evolving towards better batteries, charging. I think Japan mentioned it here a couple of days ago that they've come up with a charger that charge your car in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, let's see it.
It's battery technology.
Yeah. But,
So
it's the way of the future. I think it's slow down for a while.
And as far as I see a lot more Shelby trucks now on the road too. Is that another transition that Shelby's going into as well?
Well, they've done it for several years now. Yeah, you buy a certain model truck and they modify it.
Do you have any on display here that you?
There will today at the car show. There'll be
2 of them here.
No, there's going to be one that's lifted and then 2 regular.
That's going to be great to see.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
With the car show here today, can you explain how this all came about? Because this is really exciting. I mean, this has got to be like the epitome of all the hard work you put into this, and see something. I mean, driving up here today with all the cars lined up, getting into it, it reminds me of the days when I used to go to the drag strip, and cars would be waiting at the gate just to get in. And it's amazing how many cars we have lined out right now out here, and we're going to be showing pictures of that later here in the podcast. But how did it all happen?
It was a hobby that got out of control. And after we got married in 2004, I had a 68 KR convertible, and we had it restored, and it turned out to be a one of one. Too valuable to drive. Became a show car only, so we went around looking for 68 KR convertible that we could drive. And found one back east, and it was actually more rare because it had 4-speed air conditioning. We took it to get restored. And a couple months later, a kid out here in Pahrump, Nevada, found one. Just happened to take it to the same guy we were using. They got them side by side, and they're sequential VIN numbers, sequential Shelby ID number, and they were identically produced cars. So we ended up getting both cars there, and now you got 3 KRs you can't drive. So it just kind of evolved from there. And looking around at shows or events and things like that, people come up and they tell you what they have, they offer it. So you look at the more rare, better, in my book, because those are the ones you really want to preserve. There's a lot of controversy on that restoration side because a lot of people say, leave it the way you found it. Okay, there, I can see the merit on that, but I want this to be around for 100 years. If I don't restore it, it's going to turn into a pile of rust. I don't want that. We're preserving them for the future.
Right. So, who put this together, this event? Was this Shelby putting this together up front here between you and Hillbanks, or is this something that you went to them and say, hey, this would be a great opportunity to come in there in front of our location? And
well, the Shelby hasn't had a tribute car show now 7-8 years.
So this is a big celebration for their 60th.
60th anniversary of the. So they when they moved out of Gardenia, that was their headquarters. They didn't have a place to hold it. So we were working with the marketing people at Shelby at the time, and they brought it up. And I said, yeah, hell yeah, we'll take it. They've adopted us as the new home for the Carroll Shelby Tribute Car Show. The first year, but it's also the anniversary of the GT3.
Okay, great. Well, we've enjoyed meeting both of you and our fans listening to this podcast. Now know who Ted and Ray Segerstrom is, and your event center on Watney Street here in Irvine, California. It's how many square feet is this place?
A little over 42.
42,000 on 2 levels. It's immaculate. I wouldn't even think differently that it wouldn't be. It's just really so custom and signature to your style. That's what I can say. And I'm sure everybody's going to appreciate going through the museum today, as well as looking at the 200 cars that are out here on display.
We're hoping for 200 right now. We have about 120 registered for it. Just fine.
Well, you know, this is the first year, and the word gets out. It's going to grow every year. I think it's incredible. I'm looking outside right now, and I see almost 50, 60 people here just standing in line for coffee. So I think it's early in the morning yet, and we're going to get out there and take some great shots. We've really enjoyed meeting both of you.
Our pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The only manufacturer from the U.S. to win the World Championship, and Bob Bondurant drove across the finish line in Reims, France on July 4th. And Pat is here representing Bob and that legacy. Thank you, Pat. And our very first speaker today is someone who was part of the race team in 1965. He was a kid in his teens, and he had the opportunity to help build the very first Shelby GT350 comp car. He was part of the race team. He went out to the races, usually as a volunteer. Carroll knew how to pick him. He is the gentleman that in 2015 got together Ted and Peter Brock and a few other guys and built a continuation R model, as they say, a competition car. Please welcome Jim Marietta. Jim, would you give us a walk around just like it's 1965 of the competition GT350 and tell everybody what made the car so special?
Thank you. So, hey, thank you very much for everybody showing up today. You know, it's always a good time when a bunch of Shelby enthusiasts get together. And so whether you're talking about the mid-60s or you're talking about the brand new GT350 that Vince and Gary are doing, it's always very exciting. And I'm proud to be a part of their very first part of this. So what we did in 65 in the Venice shop, is to take a fastback Mustang and turn it into a race car. And so we got the car in various states of assembly. Most of it. Bank and Superformance. We got Ken Grody Ford provided some Shelby trucks. You guys see the badass Shelby trucks? Yeah. Right? I mean, that's cool. And that's actually like 75% of what we do today, which is pretty cool. The Shelby Performance trucks, and you know, Carol had done that back in the late '80s and stuff too. So, but this is really, you know, the Segerstroms. I can't thank Ted and Ray enough and the whole team, Mike and everybody. Please give them a round of applause. I mean, look at this fabulous place. This is just absolutely amazing. Now, all of you brought these cars, but most importantly to me, when I started with all this kind of stuff, it was the cars, and it continues to excite me today to see, you know, the different things that people do. But really, it's like an old home week, right? It's a huge family reunion for like Vince, myself, Aaron, and a lot of us. It's like one big family reunion. I can't tell how many handshakes and hugs and so forth like that. So really, it's really a wonderful feel-good moment, you know, for me, and I can't thank everybody enough. So with that, you know, the GT350, we're going to talk very briefly about that, right, Vince? We're going to keep that time down because we've got other things, but. We have never built a faster, more powerful GT350 than this car today. Okay? And a lot of what we learned from these guys in the 60s. You look at airflow and things like that they had, but we've also got 60 more years of technology and experience. And even with all that, and you can put it in a computer now, and you can, you know, use CNC programs and things like that, so the gaps are a little better on the new cars than the old ones. I'd hope so, right? But with that being said, we're moving on. You know, we also take the car to the track. Just like, you know, Vince was able to drive this car, you know, Vince drives more than I do now. That's still bugging me. But anyway, I was chief test driver for many years for Shelby. But anyway, the new cars, I still drive these as well. But we take them out to the track. We try things. We've also got a GT350R that we announced. We don't have it here today. It's still, we're getting ready to actually deliver the first of those cars early next month. Okay? If you happen to go to Carlisle, you're going to see production GT350s and you'll see a production GT350R. We announce them, we build them. Okay? So that's just awesome. And we also announced that we are developing a new Trans Am car for next year. So 6 years from 26, Trans Am is when Shelby, come here, show them your shirt, see? Anyway, there it is. 1966, Jerry Titus helped us win Trans Am with Mustang and Shelby. 2026, we're going to go racing again. So we're going to repeat those kinds of things. But always know that we're really looking and after the next one. So we're going to do a quick walk around that, but before we do, also stop by and see the Super Snake. So that's a 2024 Super Snake. The 25s are just like it. We're ready to roll into those. And Tim Pitzenbarger, I don't know if he's out here. Tim, you still there? Anyway, he's here with his wife, Cindy, and they brought their 2021, right? 22 GT500 KR. So that car has over 950 horses. And Tim needs that to get to work. So that's the kind of people that we have on our team, right? So he's late because he's out racing somebody else. Right? So anyway, we've got good reasons for these things. But Vince, why don't you take it around this car real quick, and then we'll let these people get going. There you go.
Very good. Thank you everybody for coming here. Thank you, Aaron, for coming out. This is awesome. So technology today is so much more. We wanted to come out with a 350 that was over and above anything that we've ever done. Everybody asked, you know, when we were doing the early 350s.
In 2012, and we held the first annual Shelby Tribute up in Gardena. One thing that we did, so Carol could hear us all, was a rev for 1 minute. So I'd like to ask everybody if you could go to your cars. In about 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to do a rev for everybody's cars. So if you guys would go ahead and get lined up in your cars and give us about 3 minutes and we'll get started. I appreciate it.
Legendary motors are born from legendary minds. Carroll Shelby dreamt of starting a revolution, and that's exactly what he did. Super Snake delivers over 800 horsepower, track-tuned suspension, and is the fastest Super Snake in our history. Carroll always said, "Performance is our business." That's what we continue to do at Shelby.